Ghost Galaxy just released an article that explains a few changes that have been made to the names of certain cards, the functionality of certain cards, and some of the general language found throughout KeyForge. In today's video, we'll take a look at all these minor updates and how they'll impact the game and the upcoming set. To start off, a number of cards and their traits have actually been renamed in order to avoid conflict with the names, traits, and effects of other cards that already exist. For example, Goblin has been renamed to Skirmisher, so its name no longer matches its trait. There aren't a ton of scenarios where a creature's name matching its trait would be cumbersome to work through, but it's still a nice change to avoid any potential confusion. Merchant is now Trader to avoid matching with the Merchant trait, Politician has been changed to Senator to avoid the Politician trait, and Scientist is now Researcher to avoid the Scientist trait. We've already talked in previous videos about Scout's name changing to Prospector, since there's already a rare Untamed card for Mass Mutation called Scout, and Knight, who we only got a brief glimpse of in a Ghost Galaxy YouTube video, has been changed to Defender to avoid the Knight trait. There are a few creatures whose name didn't change, but rather their trait did. One of the most important traits that has been eliminated is that of Rebel, originally belonging to members of the Martian Rebellion in House Mars. Since there's already a token creature called Rebel, the Rebel trait has been changed across the board to Ironix, something a little more thematic according to the article. Rebel, Ironix Rebel, Borka Rick, and Yuxel the Iron Captain now have the Ironix trait instead of Rebel. Lastly, Emberling's trait was originally also Emberling, and has been changed to Silicate. Next up, Ghost Galaxy made it clear in the article that there were a number of cards in the upcoming Winds of Exchange set that simply weren't fun to play with, or that were far too finicky to pull off or be effective. One of these was the special token creature Disciple, originally 3 power 2 armor and reading, Disciple cannot be used if it has a non-monk neighbor. According to playtesters, this was just not a fun or effective card. Disciple now reads, Disciple gets +1 power and +1 armor for each monk neighbor it has. The card still incentivizes you to have multiple Disciples near each other in your battle line, but in a much more enjoyable way, making it so they're at least still usable even without monk neighbors. Another problem card was Tangaika and its linked token creature Cultist. Both of these cards received quite a large overhaul, playtesters pointing out that Cultist as a token creature was not fun to have in your deck, and Tangaika was practically unplayable. Cultist now reads, Action, destroy Cultist. If you do, ward a friendly creature. Completely different effect, one that I like a whole lot more and that's actually usable outside of attempting to summon Tangaika to your board. Tangaika now reads, you cannot play Tangaika unless you control 4 or more cultists. And it still has Splash Attack 5 and the Gain 1 fight effect. They also hinted at a third card to go along with Tangaika and cultists, an artifact of some kind, but it hasn't been spoiled yet. I think these cards and the way they interact are much fairer overall, and I definitely approve of the changes made to them. The change to Cultist's ability had ripple effects, resulting in a change to another token creature's ability, that of Cadet from Star Alliance. It originally warded its most powerful neighbor upon getting destroyed, but now readies its most powerful neighbor instead. They didn't want Cultist and Cadet to be too similar in their ability, so Cadet was changed as well. Now it looks like some pretty epic combo chains could be pulled off with a properly organized battle line, and I look forward to seeing what the new and improved Cadet can do. Another change is with the Saurian artifact Election. At first, if enough of a certain counter was placed on Election, everything would get destroyed, but if it was loaded up with another type of counter, Election would get destroyed and nothing would happen. But with the most recent change, now it's guaranteed that something will happen. If it ends up with 6 Yay counters, it and every creature gets destroyed, and if it ends up with 6 Nay counters, every artifact gets destroyed. According to playtesters, the original version of Election was just too boring. Most of the time it just wouldn't do anything because it would get loaded with the counters that made it so nothing happens. With this revision, something crazy will go down no matter what type of counters get placed on it. Another artifact that was apparently just too boring and slow is Mark II Generator. Now it enters play ready, allowing you to make a token creature with it right out of the gate. And the last minor change happened to Blorb, an absolute meme of a token creature. It now has Elusive, where it didn't before, giving them just a touch more staying power than they had originally, hopefully allowing Blorb Hive to go off slightly more consistently. There was one more major change mentioned in this article, applying to cards from every KeyForge set, not just Winds of Exchange, and it's a shift in the general language used for creature abilities. In previous sets, creatures had reap effects and fight effects, but the timing of when these effects actually happened was something that consistently tripped up new players. So now, reap effects are after reap effects, and fight effects are after fight effects. This makes it very distinct when the fight or reap ability actually happens. When your creature reaps, it exhausts and gains you an ember. Then, the ability associated with that reap resolves. When fighting, the ability distinctly resolves after the fighting, making it clear that the creature needs to survive the fight for the ability to resolve. I think this update to KeyForge's general lingo is a welcome one, and will definitely make things a lot more straightforward for new players. It may take some time for veteran players to get used to the new look, but I think it'll be worth it in the long run. According to Ghost Galaxy, the new card language has been applied to the entire KeyForge card pool, and that an updated rulebook will soon be published with these new changes in mind and how it may apply to specific rulings. Lastly, Ghost Galaxy revealed that there's actually a card they've been forced to cut from the set. The previously spoiled card Art Project was apparently just too controversial due to the severity of its effect, and no matter how many times they reworked it, they just couldn't get it to fit in. And it makes sense, unforging an opponent's key is a major effect, and something that's rarely seen for how dangerously potent it can be, so it may have been a smart move to scrap it. Art Project may be seen in a later set, but for now, it's no more. And there we have it, just a few tweaks here and there to make the game more straightforward to learn for new players, along with a number of updates to make cards more fun and usable. I love the work Ghost Galaxy has done to make KeyForge's return as wonderful as possible, and I believe their openness with these things is an important part of that. It's something I definitely appreciate seeing. Let me know what you guys think of these updates down in the comments below. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching, be sure to subscribe for more KeyForge content, and I can't wait to see you all again in the next one. See you later.